Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vasajya Tishadharine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vastatyadishatharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gatathara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktadinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna ah, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Nitai Sachi Sundara, Nitai Sachi Sundara, Nitai Sachi Sundara, Nitai Sachi Sundara Jaya, Nitai Sachi Sundara, Nitai Sachi Sundara, Nitai Sachi Sundara Jai Jai, Nitai Sachi Sundara. Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jai Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. आनंद खत वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिव श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राध कुंद श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की जय श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय गंगा माया मुनमाई की जय तुलसी देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय साम वेद भक्तरिंद की जय गौर Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Okay, nice you came, Vijay. We have an online program only tonight as devotees are sick, not well, and so we do like this. Okay. Vijay, is there any particular verse you like to discuss?
No, I'd leave it up to you to choose.
We can do the next verse. You're not forgetting about framing your pictures, right?
Yeah, I was going to ask about framing the pictures about the Pancha Tattva,
Yes.
the Srila Prabhupada, and then Nrsingadev and the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I want to put them as well.
You can, but Panchatattva means Lord Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. That's Lord Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda, that's Nitai Nityananda. Sri Advaita, it's Advaitacharya. Gadadhar, and Sri was Pandit. Sri was the Gaura Bhaktarinda. So Lord Chaitanya is already there, but if you want to have a picture, but don't have a picture only of Lord Chaitanya. Have a picture of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. That would be nicer. There are beautiful pictures on the internet. Beautiful. Just print it out. And Nrsingadev can be a smaller picture, and even the whole Guru Parampara, some smaller pictures. You find it all on the internet. Just print it out or have it printed at a print shop in a good quality and get frames. Cut it to size, and there you go. Your altar is ready.
So how many frames? I can have the Panchatattva at the top, the top
Yes,
frame
on the highest
on the
level.
highest platform.
Yes.
And then I don't want too many frames, so I have one frame for the Panchatattva.
Yes.
And I have a picture of Prabhupada.
Yes. Smaller picture. Yes.
Smaller picture, and then I can have the whole Guru Parampara.
Same size, all of them.
All of them, yeah, same size. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, that's nice.
So how many frames? Like I have one frame for the Panchatattva, one frame for Srila Prabhupada.
Yes.
And one frame for the whole Guru
Parampara is
yeah.
number one, Srila Prabhupada.
Mm-hmm.
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, number two. Number three, Gaurkishore Das Babaji. Number four, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. These are essential. Four. Four smaller frames, same size as Srila Prabhupada. One frame of Panchatattva. and a frame of Lord Nrsimhadeva. And Lord Nrsimhadev should be on the same level as a Panchatattva. So that box you making with a cloth over needs to be a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Because just to distinguish Vishnu Tattva. Vishnu Tattva as the eternal transcendental form of the Lord in the spiritual world. And we are all Jiva Tattva, and gurus are also Jiva Tattva, although there are Nitya devotees, eternal servants of the Lord, but they would not like themselves to be compared or on the same level of the Lord. There's the servants of the Lord. So therefore the Guru Parampara goes on a lower. They're on a lower level. Can you just hold on a second? Hare Krishna, Rashmi Mataji. Okay, no. Hung up. So, okay, is that clear, Vijay?
Yeah, okay. So just to get it clear, how many separate frames would there be?
4, 5, 6.
6. So quite 6.
Yes. 4 for the Parampara,
Yeah.
1 for Nishingadev, 1 for Panchatattva. So 6 frames.
Right.
Do you have a nice corner in the room?
Yeah, I have a nice corner. I can, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you can do your offerings and all of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Let's have a look what we will do. We just could take the next verse. What are you reading at the moment, Vijay? Vijay, what are you reading?
Oh, next to devotion.
Oh, that's beautiful.
No.
That's very, very beautiful. Huh? We
Yeah.
will also a little bit more time because this yoga chapter does very good, and Amit finds it very practical. Nectar of Devotion is a very high science. The Science of Devotion is a very important book, very important scripture. Okay, we'll do something with the Nectar of Devotion in a bit of time. So let's look at Bhagavad Gita, the yoga chapter, continues from Wednesday, chapter 6, text 17. And I will share that screen. Okay, here we are. How do you feel with the Sanskrit? You want to give it a try?
Okay, I might give it a try. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. There you go.
Yaktahara vidharayasya.
Viharasya, yes.
Vyasya. Yaktahara.
Take it slow.
Yakta chestasya kamasu.
Good.
Yakta swapanavapadyasya.
It's a different one. Swap. You break it down in syllables. Swap. Na.
Na
Va. Bodhasya.
vadasya.
So, swap.
Swap
Swap. Na. Va. Bodhasya. That's the syllables. And that becomes Swapnavadbodhasya.
Swapna
Va-
Bodhvatva Bodhyasya.
Yeah.
Yoga Bhavati Dukkha.
Yes. Very nice. Very nice. So we'll call you more often on the Sanskrit. You're quite proficient. Translation.
He who is he who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system.
Perfect.
Extravagance in the matter of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, which are demands of the body, can block advancement in the practice of yoga. As far as eating is concerned, it can be regulated only when one is practiced to take and accept prasadam, sanctified food.
Can you just stop here a second? I really need to send a text
Okay.
to Rashmi Mataji. Because she... Okay, done. Carry on. Lord Krishna. Vijay. Can't hear you.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, Lord Krishna is offered, according to the Bhagavad Gita 9:26, vegetables, flowers, fruits, grains, milk, etc. In this way, a person in Krishna consciousness becomes automatically trained not to accept food not meant for human consumption or not in the category of goodness. As far as sleeping is concerned, a Krishna conscious person is always alert in the discharge of his duties in Krishna consciousness, and therefore any unnecessary time spent sleeping is considered a great loss. Avyakta Kalatum, which is the Madhya 23, 18 to 19 verses. A Krishna conscious person cannot bear to pass a minute of his lift toward I see.
There is some mistake. I read that and I cannot make out of his life. That should be probably of his life or lifetime.
Okay, so pass a minute of his lifetime. Yeah. Okay. So a Krishna conscious person cannot bear to pass a minute of his lifetime without being engaged in the service of the Lord. Therefore, his sleeping is kept to a minimum. His ideal in this respect is Sri Rupa Goswami, who was always engaged in the service of Krishna and who could not sleep more than 2 hours a day, and sometimes not even that. Thakura Haridasa would not even accept prasadam, nor even sleep for a moment without finishing his daily routine of chanting with his beads, which is 300,000 names. As far as work is concerned, a Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not connected with Krishna's interest, and thus his work is always regulated and untainted by sense gratification. Since there is no question of sense gratification, there is no material leisure for a person in Krishna consciousness. And because he is regulated in all his words, speech, sleep, wakefulness, and all other bodily activities, there is no material misery for him. Surrender unto me.
Thank you very much, Vijay. This translation again. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, work, and mitigation of material pains by practicing can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Om Mirandasya Kananchana Shalakaya Jakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stabitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udapata Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parichana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivishakhan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatapate Gopasha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Dapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishapanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarupascha Kripa Sindhupya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Nice verse. There is some interesting line here in Srila Prabhupada's purport that regarding sleeping, one should not sleep unnecessarily. And as we have heard on Wednesday, overeating produces dreams, and dreams producing sleeping longer than required. Srila Prabhupada famously, he has said, a spiritual master never sleeps. Wow. We may not be able to even imagine that, because if we don't sleep for a day, or a night rather, we cannot cope with anything. But that's a different level. The spiritual master never sleeps. There is an example. Srila Prabhupada was laying down on his bed. His servant was in the room, and it appeared like Srila Prabhupada was sleeping. Down in the temple room was a Kirtan going on. And for the servant, it appeared like Srila Prabhupada was sound asleep. Suddenly, without opening his eyes or anything, Srila Prabhupada said, the mridangam should never be louder than the singer. So he wasn't asleep. He was just resting. The mridangam should never be louder than the singer. So that's important instruction there. Because obviously the mridangam was louder in the temple room, and devotees sometimes they like to bang the drum very loud. But the Kirtan leader, he is a main pointer. He's leading the Kirtan. He should be heard. If the Midangam is overpowering the lead singer, then how can the devotees respond properly? They don't hear what he is singing. Therefore, the Midangam is subordinate. We don't need to show our prowess, as some do. I have seen that. So it's an accompanying instrument, the Midangam, accompanying this, the one who sings the Kirtan. And the Kartal should never be louder either. And so Srila Prabhupada was not sleeping. A spiritual master never sleeps. We can also do a power nap. We're just in a relaxed state. Not really deep asleep, but enough to regenerate the body and mind. So here, Lord Krishna is speaking of regulation, which is so important. Regulation of the habits. So alone by regulated habits, eating, sleeping, recreation. Recreation, that's interesting. Sometimes devotees asking this question, recreation, what does that mean? Wow, we're going to the movies. No. Recreation in Krishna consciousness. What is recreation? Srila Prabhupada has been asked this question. What is recreation here? Lord Krishna says recreation. There must be recreation and work in a balance. So what's recreation? Srila Prabhupada said, our recreation is chanting, dancing, and feasting. Very simple. If devotees dance, that is recreation. Chant, that's recreation. And I do very much hope everything is clear for next Saturday. Vijay said you'll be here at the Hare Krishna Center when the two Maharajis are coming, and Narada and Neera from London, and there will be recreation, there will be dancing and chanting. Yes, you are free. You made yourself free, right? Vijay.
Sorry. Was it next Saturday or this?
Yes, 12th of April.
Oh, so the Maharajis are coming.
The Maharajis, like Govinda Maharaj and Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj.
Oh, you mean the French?
Yes,
Oh, from France.
yes. Oh, you haven't got the message. You're always missing out. I forget that you're not on WhatsApp because you have sent beautiful invitation. Anyway, they still. So you must come. Very important. You
Oh,
must come.
is it 5 o'clock? Five?
Yes,
No, five.
like last time.
Like last time.
5 till 7.
5 to 7 because
Yes.
he sleeps. He sleeps early. He gets
Yes, because
he
he's
does,
chanting almost 200 rounds.
he gets at 1 o'clock in the morning and does.
Yes,
Yeah.
all the
Okay.
way through.
All the
Yes.
way. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So,
Oh, that's nice. Can I bring somebody then? Can I bring family member or?
yes, of course, you can bring any amount of people with you.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah.
Also, I don't know if that is an option for you, particularly when you bring no, has nothing to do with when you bring anyone. Then the Marshes will stay here in Leicester, and then on Sundays they will go to Rituan and Amrita Radhe's house in Derby. You're welcome. You want to come? Then you can come directly from Birmingham. So The distance of Birmingham Derby and Leicester Derby are more or less the same. An hour's drive. You're invited. You're welcome. It's a house program with some friends and people. Rituan and Amrita Radhe know. I have done a house program at their place sometime last year. It was beautiful. Enthusiastic people were chanting, lots of chanting, a little bit of talk. It will be similar. So the two Maharajas will travel with me from Leicester to Derby. And then they will stay at Rituan's and Amrita Radhe's house overnight, and next morning they're going back to France. So here we go. Think about it. But Leicester, you have to come. Bring family members, friends, acquaintances, as many as you want to. Let me know. So just for practical purposes, Vaishana Mataji that she cooks appropriate amount of prasadam. Just give me a number. We coming by 2 or 3.
Yes, okay. And the Derby, how you're driving from Leicester, is that?
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to say you can drive with me, but there is, I forgot to say, it's next day. Next day. It's a Sunday, the Derby program. It's also 5 till 7. I'm
Right.
driving from Leicester.
Driving from Leicester, right? Okay.
I can give you the postcode and address details, and
Yeah.
you come.
Yeah. Okay. I'll see.
Think about it. You get such a very special association.
Okay, and it's at Ridwan's house. What is it? 5 o'clock again in the
Yes,
evening?
5 till 7 in the evening
Okay.
at Rituan and Amrita Radhe's house. They have a beautiful altar you can see with deities,
Okay.
pictures and all that, and they are householders just like you.
Okay. So I can see the how they set up the altar.
Yes, you could see that.
Okay.
That is
Yeah.
nice.
Okay.
And then there will be prasadam. They're excellent cooks. Excellent prasadam.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that association of the Maharajas, that who knows when you are ready. When you are ready of chanting 16 rounds for some time and you steady, at one point you might want to think of initiation, of formal initiation and getting a spiritual name. I don't know, Vichai sounds very nice already, of course. But
That's my grandfather's name.
okay.
He's the I didn't know that he was the gatekeeper in Vaikuntha. The
Jai and Vijay.
Jai and Vijay, yeah.
Yes.
Jai and Vijay.
Yes, so Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj is an initiating guru. And we are in the league of devotees, and so we can do a wonderful service for us. Anyway, I just mentioned that. But the Saturday, next Saturday, that's a must. Do you know how to make flower garlands?
No, I don't know.
Have you ever done it?
No, I've never done it. No.
Anyway, maybe you can sponsor flower garlands. What do you feel? Different devotees. I mean, Amit has sponsored Maharaj's change of flight fee, because they originally were just coming to Leicester and going back on Sunday, but then it came up that Rituan would love them to come to his house. So he's sponsoring that, and Rituan is sponsoring a taxi back from Derby back to Birmingham Airport, and I'll picking them up from Birmingham Airport and drive them to Derby next day also. So we're already doing something. So if you would like to sponsor some flowers, I will have to find someone. If not, I do it myself, make some garlands.
Right. So he's coming. Sorry, did you say Birmingham Airport?
Yes,
And then he's driving to Leicester,
yes,
and then from Leicester next day to Derby. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yep. Right. Okay.
If you want to greet them at Birmingham Airport,
Yeah.
you're welcome. That would be nice. Right at the arrival lounge.
Actually, could I meet them at Birmingham and drive to Leicester? Is it you're not? They're doing the day before though. Coming the day before, are they?
They're coming on Saturday.
On Saturday.
Yes, at around
Mm.
what? Arriving around 2 o'clock,
So
2:30.
2:30. So if I could meet them at Birmingham and they can drive me to Leicester, then we could go together. Is it possible or not? Or maybe not.
Meet them at Birmingham.
Yeah.
How would you get to the airport?
There's a train from
Okay,
direct to the Birmingham International Airport. There's a train from Birmingham, sorry, from Wolverhampton.
okay. Yes, theoretically, that is very nice. And you can also drive with us to Leicester.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
but then what?
Oh yes. Okay. And then
Because we don't have any accommodation here. That's a
yeah,
problem.
that's okay. I could yeah,
You,
or I could
you could take the train back to Birmingham, which is also a train station. It's just 10 minutes walk from the center. I've done that.
yeah, yeah, I could
There's one train to Birmingham, then you might have to change in Birmingham to Wolverhampton.
mm, yeah, I could do that. Or
Yeah, I
yeah, I
think
could get the train back or then next day drive from Wolverhampton to Derby. Or if I
and if you think about it.
yeah, 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 yeah. And I can stay in Leicester with somebody. I've got my cousin in Leicester and maybe
You have people in Leicester you could stay?
yeah, yeah, I could
Oh, that would be
well,
very nice. That
yeah,
would be very nice. And then I'll take you with the Maharajas to Derby.
yeah, because Derby, I've never been to Derby, so I'll probably
And from Derby, you take a train back to Wolverhampton.
yeah, yeah,
That can
okay.
be done.
Yeah, it can be done. Yeah.
Oh, sounds like a plan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Very good. Oh, you will have some beautiful association. Very nice. So, you think you can learn how to make some garlands?
Well, can I sponsor? Well, yeah, somebody needs to teach me how to make garlands.
It's
So,
just putting a bigger type of longer needle.
mm,
If let's say you have chrysanthemums,
mhm,
and you take the heads off of the chrysanthemums,
mhm,
and then putting the needle in from behind, you have to change in the middle, because the flower heads should show upwards. And then they're looking very nice, should show upwards. I'm
mhm,
sure you could even find something on the internet.
mhm,
Chrysanthemums. So you have something in the middle, or
mhm,
one flower in the middle, and then on one side uh, they're facing upwards, and the other sides are facing upwards. Not just all the way through from the same side. Then one side they're facing downwards, the flowers, which is not looking very nice. And on the other side, upwards. No, you have to, one side you have to thread them from the bottom,
mhm.
and on the other side, thread them from the top. Simple. Two garlands. Let's say you were there at the airport, and we greeting them, and I have a garland, you have a garland, you put the garlands on them. That would be very nice.
Right. Um, so could uh, do we make them ourselves or can a flower shop or somebody else make them or is it
Someone
best?
else can make them, anyone can make them who knows how to make garlands. Perhaps some of your family members know how to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe your mother knows how to do that, you don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
The garland shouldn't be just too short by the neck. They should be at least going to the waist,
To the navel.
to the navel. That would be nice.
To the navel.
They can be longer, but not shorter.
Not sure. Yeah. Is it possible to sponsor then somebody to do it, or can
You
I?
can also sponsor the flowers. I would think so. Let's say £60 would be, hopefully, be enough. Of course, we would. If it were more summary, I would love to give Maharaj on their arrival both a nice garland when we come to Leicester, and then Narada and Neera come. I would give this Maharaj's Maha garlands, because that's Maha, like Mahaprasad. Give those Maha garlands to Narada and Neera Mataji, and give Maharaj 2 new garlands. So that means 4 garlands altogether.
Right, 4 garlands. And do you know how much they'll? If I ask somebody to make them, like a flower shop, would it be £60 to make them?
I don't know. Flower shops do that, I know. But you have to tell them.
Advanced.
One of the cheapest flowers is probably chrysanthemums. And they're looking also nice. If you would make garlands with roses, that would be very costly. Of course, the roses are absolutely beautiful, but they're strong in the same way, I guess so. I would think so. £60 for 4 garlands should be not less.
So if I gave you the money, and could you arrange it for me?
I could do that, yes.
Yeah. So if I give you I don't know how much it's going to cost, but if I give you the money and you can maybe sort out the 4 garlands.
Yes.
Yeah. So
It's no need really to get a flower shop involved. They're charging extra money. It's not a big science to make the garlands.
Yes.
One garland up to the navel or hips, up to the hips is even nicer, would take 20 minutes to make. Not longer. Particular chrysanthemums is just a long needle and enough thread, a strong thread, and then just putting them on the string.
Okay, so if I gave you the money for the 4 garlands, could you arrange it to be made, or is that?
No, I would. Yes, I will. I have one Mataji. She might be able to make them. If not, I will have to do it myself.
Okay.
Maybe I have some other ideas who could make them.
Yeah, because I haven't done it before, so obviously I don't want anything to go wrong.
Yes, they must be ready in time, of course. So that's very important. Okay, these are just to be on the safe side. We said £60. If you would sponsor £100 for the garland, then if there's any balance left over, you could I'll give that back to you, and you give a dakshina, a donation to the Maharajas.
Okay. Yeah.
I can give you an envelope, you put it in, whatever is left from buying the flowers, and that's your personal donation to the Maharajas.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'll
I WhatsApp you my bank account, bank details.
Yeah, could you email? Is because I'm not on WhatsApp.
Yes, also sorry.
Sorry. Sorry.
Can you please get on WhatsApp, Vijay? Why are you not on WhatsApp?
I'm on email. I'm on.
Yes, why not? Very easy.
Mm.
Very easy. All what you have to give your phone number. That's all.
I'm on Facebook as well. I think on Facebook as
Well,
well.
if you on Facebook, you can also be on WhatsApp, isn't it?
Mm. Mm.
Because we have a group.
Yeah.
We one WhatsApp message goes to over 100 people
Mm. Mm.
with one click of a button. So you will get all of
Mm.
that.
Mm. Okay,
Think
if you
about
just email me your bank details, and on Monday I'll put £100 into your account. Is that
it.
okay?
Okay, yes, we
Yeah.
can do that.
Okay, I'll put £100 into your account. Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah. Right.
fantastic.
Okay.
So let's go back to.
Mm.
Let me know. Let me know if you want to come to Leicester, stay with family members overnight, and then come
Mm.
to Derby with us. That would be very nice. Come to Derby.
Mm. Okay.
Okay. So a little bit more here. Yoga. Yoga, all about yoga. So we ask, what is recreation? Recreation in Krishna consciousness. Chanting, dancing, and feasting. Football is not a Vaishnava, a devotee sport. It just isn't. Srila Prabhupada didn't speak very positive about football. He says it's just like throwing a stick for a dog and he comes and brings it back. It's not very inspiring, football. But swimming is a Vaishnava sport. Swimming. Even associates with Lord Chaitanya, there had been many pastimes, water pastimes and swimming. So swimming is a nice exercise for devotees. And that's the only one I can think of. And walking, of course. Walking. Chapa walk even. I do that sometimes. Take my beat back and the park, Victoria Park is nearby, and then I just make 2 rounds around the park and chanting a good number of rounds. So that is eating. We have already covered that on Wednesday. Only Krishna Prasadam. And they also regulated. And there has been a nice story a long time ago where one new devotee, he was asking, how is it possible to control the tongue when the prasadam tastes so nice? When he asked that question, everybody was laughing. At the beginning of our Krishna conscious spiritual journey, we are encouraged to eat a lot of prasadam. And Srila Prabhupada was always happy when devotees were eating. And I do remember when Srila Prabhupada was in New Mayapur in France in 76, 1 year before his departure from this world, seemingly departure from our vision. So at one point, devotees were eating. This New Mayapur is a castle, and behind the castle is a big, big lawn, just like Bhaktivedanta Manor, just like that. Behind there is a big lawn. So the devotees were respecting prasadam, hundreds and hundreds of devotees, because they have come from everywhere to meet Srila Prabhupada. They came from all over Europe. We came from Germany. There were others coming from Belgium, from Italy, from everywhere they came, because it was quite rare to meet Srila Prabhupada. He was traveling, and so whoever could manage to be there, they really tried, like you are trying to manage to come to Leicester and to Derby. So, at one point, while everybody was respecting prasadam, someone shouted out very loud, Srila Prabhupada ki jai! And all the devotees, they looked around, and there was Srila Prabhupada on the top second floor of the castle, and the window was open, and Srila Prabhupada looked down to the devotees with a big, big smile. The spiritual master is very happy when he sees the devotees eating Krishna Prasad, Bhagavad Prasad. Very happy. So it's a great satisfaction to see everybody eating Krishna Prasad. There's also a very interesting story, and was involving Hridayananda Goswami, Hridayananda Maharaj. He was sannyasi at that time, some temple, I forgot which temple, it doesn't matter really. And he tried to be very austere in an artificial way. That was a long time ago. So he ate very little prasadam. It was artificial. It was not out of realization. The devotees weren't that advanced at the beginning. They were just new devotees. And Srila Prabhupada just came down the stairs, and there was on a shelf, there was a full plate of prasadam. Someone has left it. Didn't belong to anybody. So, and Hridayananda Maharaj has been down at the stairs, or perhaps coming down with Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada saw that plate of prasadam. He pointed at it and he said to Hridayananda Maharaj, "Eat that." Eat that. He made him eat the whole plate. All his fasting regime was completely ruined. Eat that. So obviously Srila Prabhupada knew. Srila Prabhupada knew everybody's mind. That's a pure devotee. Sometimes people say, I had some devotees, even there was some argument. Srila Prabhupada knows things. And one devotee was arguing, no, that's not possible. Only Krishna knows everything. So the pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, he doesn't know everything. So in a completely unrelated conversation, I have found within Srila Prabhupada's writings and conversations, someone was asking Srila Prabhupada, do you know everything? Exactly that question. Do you know everything? Someone would say, yes, Srila Prabhupada knows everything. Someone else would say, no, he doesn't know everything. He's not Krishna. Spiritual master is not Krishna. He doesn't know everything. Only Krishna knows everything. So the question was, Srila Prabhupada, do you know everything? And Srila Prabhupada gave the most beautiful answer. I know whenever Krishna wants me to know. Fully surrender to Krishna. If Krishna wants to know, the pure devotee to know something, then he will know. And if not, he won't. So I know what Krishna wants me to know. And he knew so much. When he looked at someone, he knew right. He looked at devotees right into the heart, and that is my own testimony as well. Right into the heart, seeing many lifetimes of wasted lifetimes in this material world. Seeing there was nothing to hide in front of Srila Prabhupada. He could see it immediately. There was nothing to hide. One just stood like naked in front of him. There was nothing to pretend. There was one devotee, very new. He heard of that one should be humble as a devotee. Before he came to Krishna consciousness, like everybody else, he thought, I'm so great. I'm the best. That's what everybody thinks in this material world. I'm the greatest. I'm the best. And then we come to Krishna consciousness, so he mentioned to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, I'm the most humble. I'm the most humble. And Srila Prabhupada looked at him and said, you are not the most anything. Because it was just a false ego statement, I'm the most. He wanted to be the most. He couldn't be the most in the material world. He couldn't be the most beautiful, the most rich, the most famous, the most renowned. He couldn't be all of that in the material world. So he thought, okay, I'll be the most humble. Srila Prabhupada said, you're not the most anything. So he put him right down. He cut him right down. And then he had to learn some real humility. We don't say we are the most humble. Devotees never say, I'm the most of anything. The opposite is true. The devotee always feels himself the most fallen. Even the very advanced devotees, so more advanced, they're thinking of themselves as the most fallen. That's interesting. It's just the opposite. And that's real. That's not a pretentious, like I'm the most humble. No, that is real, the most fallen. Because at that stage of spiritual advancement, we can see who Krishna really is and who we are. Absolutely little undeserving specks in this material world trying to enjoy our senses since time immemorial. So we can, at such a level of spiritual advancement, one can see that. Before that level of spiritual advancement, we cannot see that. We're thinking we are so great. We are not. Who are we? We are completely controlled by the three modes of material nature. So therefore, if we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna does Kaviraj at the end of each chapter. He says, I'm the most unworthy person. I'm only writing this Chaitanya Charitamrita because devotees have asked me to compile a biography of Lord Chaitanya. And he has, of course, got permission from the deity as well. Nobody can just take it on himself, oh, I'm going to write something. No, one must be ordered to write spiritual literature. So his statement in Chaitanya Charitamrita is, I'm so undeserving, and so lowly, like the worm in the stool. You're writing that? I'm just like the worm in the stool. How lower can one be, like a worm in the stool? So more advanced devotee is some more, he realizes how insignificant we are. And we are. But when we're not very advanced in Krishna consciousness, we don't realize how insignificant we are. But we are insignificant in compared to Krishna, in compared to Krishna's devotees, in compared to the associates of Lord Chaitanya, in compared to Krishna's cowherd friends, gopis, all of that. In compared to the inhabitants of Vrindavan, we are very insignificant. These devotees, associates of Lord Chaitanya, the Nitya Siddhas, eternal associates of the Lord, just like Arjuna is an eternal associate of Krishna. He is, wherever the pastimes in which universe is performed, of the Mahabharata, war. And the pastime where Krishna is teaching Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is always there. Because Krishna is asking, and you might remember that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, I instructed the science of the Gita to the sun god. And as we remember, Arjuna was a contemporary of Krishna. He was same age. He was related to him as a friend. He was Krishna's friend. They did many things friends are doing. They were eating together. They were lying on the bed together. They were joking together. So many things like we do with friends. And then Krishna says, I have taught, given the science of Bhagavad Gita, and it is a science, of course, to the sun god. Then Arjuna was puzzled. My friend, Krishna, you're my age. The sun god said was millions of years ago. So he questioned Krishna, how is that possible? Said, you was teaching the science. What you revealing to me now is this yoga system of the different yogas. You were revealing that to the sun god. And then Lord Krishna said a very interesting verse. Arjuna, you and me and all these kings on the battlefield are eternally individuals. We have been together for so many, many times. We have been performing this pastime. The difference is, Arjuna, you have forgotten, but I have not. A very important instruction. So, we have forgotten, but Krishna never forgets. Because Krishna is not changing bodies. When we change our body, we forget. We forget who we have been in the past life. Although, if the child in the womb is very fortunate, the child, not every child, one has to be very fortunate. And there must be some lots of pious activities in the past. Pious credits, punya, lot of punya. So if the child in the womb is fortunate, he can remember 1/100 of his previous birth. Child in the womb. But as soon as a child takes birth and his head is squished through the birth channel and all of that and the shock coming out and in the daylight, let's not forget the child in the womb has been in darkness for 9 months and in a cramped in position. There are beautiful verses in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Lord Chaitanya speaking to his mother and explains the situation of the child within the womb. Sometimes people think, oh, that is a nice, safe situation in the womb. Even in life, when we are being attacked, we coiling together like the child in the womb because that's a safe position, curling up like that. People think that's a very safe and nice position in the womb, protected and so on. But that's not the case. Lord Chaitanya explained it, and we know, of course, whatever the mother eats, if the mother is eating a bit of spicy food, then the child in the womb suffers because it's connected. So he feels the pain of the spicy food in his delicate skin. And there are some worms also in the body, and they're eating and nibbling on the child's delicate body. Above all, the child is in this cramped up position. He cannot stretch his legs and nothing. And from the 7 months onwards, the child is fully conscious. Fully conscious, or is 6 months, 7 months. Fully conscious. And it's just like a prison cell. And he hears everything from the outside. If there's loud music, it pains him. If there's spicy food eating, it pains him. Therefore, we do start reading Srimad Bhagavatam to the child in the womb, to the mother and to the child in the womb from the 7 months onwards. And that's how Prahlad Maharaj, as we remember Prahlad, he was, his mother was attacked by Indra and the demigods while Hiranyakashipu was away. They captured her. They wanted to kill her because they knew she was pregnant. And then Narada Muni stopped them and said, no. They said, why are you stopping us? This woman, wife of Hiranyakashipu, has his child in the womb. He's such a big demon. So the child in the womb surely will be even a bigger demon. And so Narada said, no. This is a great devotee in her womb. And then they apologized and circumambulated the mother, the child really, in the womb. And they took it by the authority of Narada Muni. And then Narada Muni was reading Srimad Bhagavatam to her. And that was in the later months of the pregnancy. And the child in the womb, he heard all of that. The child in the womb can be listening. The consciousness is there. Listening to the reading of Bhagavatam, and so he became a self-realized soul, trained in Krishna consciousness from the very birth on. Same with Abhimanyu, son of Arjuna. When he was in the womb, Arjuna explained to Subhadra, his mother, the military formation of the Chaturvyuha. Chaturvyuha is a very special military formation, which they later on they formed this military formation. And when it came to, he explained how to enter the Chaturvyuha. Not that easy. There's certain ways, only one way one can enter this formation. And then when Arjuna explained to Subhadra how to get out of the Chaturvyuha, she fell asleep. And the child, Abhimanyu, also fell asleep in the womb. So therefore he only knew how to get into the Chaturvyuha, but not out of the Chaturvyuha. And when these big Maharatis attacked him and lured Arjuna away to a different location on the battlefield, and then the very brave Abhimanyu, he remembered how to enter the Chaturvyuha. But he didn't know how to get out of it. But he thought, if I'm in that formation, I can defeat everyone. Such a great warrior he was. And he could defeat everyone. But then these great Maharajas, Drona, Bhishma, Duryodhana, and all his brothers and everybody else say simultaneously attacked him, which is against the Kshatriya code. Kshatriya means one warrior fights another warrior. It's not just 10 warriors fight one warrior. And he was a young boy on top of it. Those they killed him. It was a very despicable thing to do against all rules of warfare. So just to highlight that the child in the womb is conscious. He can hear. So we read Srimad Bhagavatam for the benefit of the child in the womb. So Lord Chaitanya explained all this to his mother. How a very uncomfortable, very painful situation of the child in the womb. Coming back to the verse itself. Lord Krishna is saying, if one is regulated in his habits, eating, sleeping, recreation, and work, one can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. And of course, the highest yoga system is Bhakti Yoga, Krishna consciousness. And in his purport, Srila Prabhupada explains also, extravagance in the matter of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, which are demands of the body. And Srila Prabhupada explains so many times. We don't say no eating, no sleeping, no mating, no defending. We don't say that. These are basic bodily demands. And here Srila Prabhupada says, again, which are demands of the body. But we say, or Shastra says, these demands of the body need to be not neglected, they need to be regulated. Regulated eating, regulated sleeping, and so on. If one is extravagant in this eating, sleeping, defending, mating, that can block one's advancement in the practice of yoga. And then, as we have covered on Wednesday, if one is regulated, it means to take only Krishna Prasadam, sanctified food, according to Bhagavad Gita. And then Bhagavad Gita is quoted here, vegetables, flowers, fruit, grain, milk, that famous verse, Patram pushpam palam tuyam yom me bhaktya pranashyati tataham bhaktyuparitam ashnami prayatatmanaha. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit, water, I will accept it. And of course, you know that Vijay, that leaf especially refers to the tulsi leaves. So Krishna will accept if we offer him with love and devotion these items. And then Srila Prabhupada says, in this way, a person in Krishna consciousness becomes automatically trained not to accept food not meant for human consumption, or not in the category of goodness. Of course, meat products are not meant for human consumption. And it's also explained, if someone is so much after the taste of meat, next lifetime, the human body is not very, very good for eating flesh. Nobody can live only of eating flesh. One can only have a small portion of flesh and then vegetables and grains and all that. So, but if someone is really very much into eating meat, so next time around, he'll get the body of a tiger or lion, which is much more suitable for eating this kind of food stuff. A tiger is only eating flesh. Human body will not, is not possible. And regarding sleeping, Srila Prabhupada explains in his purport, the Krishna conscious person is always alert in the discharge of his duties. We have so many Krishna conscious duties. Therefore, unnecessarily sleeping is considered a great loss, because this human life is very short. So we'll have to take full advantage of the human form of life. In no time, that human form of life is just passing by. And again, we haven't reached the final goal and we have to come back, as we have done many, many, many lifetimes before. So we should take fully advantage now, as we have been able to meet a pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada, through personally or through his writings, through his books, through his speaking. So we have been very fortunate, and now we should take fully advantage. And then there is a verse from the Madhya Lila quoted. That link doesn't work. A Krishna conscious person cannot bear to pass a minute of his life without being engaged in the service of the Lord. If we come to that level of Krishna consciousness, so that we cannot pass a minute of our life without the service of the Lord, then we have made some spiritual advancement. So Krishna consciousness Krishna should be on our mind throughout the day. How else will we remember Krishna at the time of death? We have to train our mind that we are always aware of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada gives a nice purport in Bhagavad Gita. He is in a very liberal way, he is defining what is Krishna consciousness. We have talked about that, we have come across that. And there he says, Krishna consciousness is awareness of the spiritual energy. Look, what a merciful, what a wonderful. He didn't say Krishna consciousness is when we coming to the bhava or prema stage or anything like that. Very high elevated stages, or when we come to the raga platform, raganuga platform, spontaneous devotional service. And no, he said awareness of the spiritual energy. That's Krishna consciousness. Well, it starts from there. Most people are not aware of the spiritual energy, they're only aware of the material energy. They have no idea what the spiritual energy is about, although people nowadays thinking of themselves, I'm a spiritual person, but they don't know what spiritual means. Sometimes people say, I like to be in nature, that is something spiritual. Well, everything is something spiritual. Even being in the factory is spiritual. Everything is spiritual, ultimately, because Krishna is in every atom, Vishnu, in every atom, in the factory, in nature, here and there. So not just I'm being in nature, so therefore I'm spiritual. Also, it is easier to see God in nature than in the factory. So we should train ourselves to see Krishna's hand in everything. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada says, his sleeping is kept to a minimum. And then Srila Prabhupada give an example of Rupa Goswami, who could not sleep more than 2 hours a day, and sometimes not even that. Of course, that is a very elevated devotee. Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari in Krishna's pastimes. We should not forget that. Nitya Sita, eternal associate of Krishna. 2 hours a day, and sometimes not even that. Haridas Thakur, the Namacharya, the Acharya of the holy name, he chanted every day on beats 300,000 names. 300,000 names. I once made a calculation how that takes almost 24 hours to chant 300,000 names. It's a lot. And he would not even accept prasadam or even slept for a moment without finishing his daily routine of chanting with his beats 300,000 names. And as far as work is concerned, as it's mentioned in the verse itself, is regulated in recreation and work. So far as work is concerned, a Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not connected with Krishna's interest. That's interesting. So we need to know what is Krishna's interest, first of all. We need to know what Krishna wants. We need to hear. We need to inquire. Someone who knows Krishna's interest will have to know. And then we don't do anything which is against Krishna's interest, or even which is not in Krishna's interest. That is Krishna consciousness. And so thus, Srila Prabhupada writes, his work is always regulated and untainted by sense gratification. If we're acting 24 hours in Krishna's interest, so how can there be any room for sense gratification? There can't. And therefore it is important to discuss in practical ways amongst the devotees and amongst here from senior devotees, more advanced devotees, what sometimes is not so clear. What is that spiritual? Is that material? Sometimes we think something material is spiritual and something spiritual is material. So we need to get trained to see, to draw the line, what is spiritual and what is material. Of course, there is a very simple definition of what is spiritual and what is material. Anything we do, think, speak, which is in forgetfulness of Krishna, that's material. Remembrance of Krishna in whatever we do, that is spiritual. Simple as that. It's not the activity. Or this kind of activity is material. This kind of activity is spiritual. Of course, there are restrictions. But generally, if we acting means, of course, we engaging our senses in so many ways. We engaging our eyes in seeing something, our ears in hearing something, our sense of touch in touching something, our tongue in tasting and speaking something. So all the senses are like doors of letting in some sensations from this material world. So if we do that without Krishna, without remembering Krishna, then that's material, that's Maya. But as soon as we are connected with Krishna, we are already connected, but we forget that connection. I've given that example many times. Our neighbor, where we live, he bought a brand new, flashy, red Lamborghini, or Porsche, or Ferrari, or anything like that. Beautiful sports car. And the door is not locked to his car. We're seeing that car with some envy. Oh, how could he afford such a car? I just have a little Ford Fiesta, and he has said, huge, expensive. These cars, they're costing £200,000. It's not unusual, perhaps even more. A car for £200,000. Oh, he has this beautiful top-of-the-range Tesla standing there in his driveway. The door is open, and the key is inside. And we think, well, it's a nice car. Let me have a test drive. We think like that. How can we think like that? Let me have a test drive. We drive the car around town. Because we have forgotten who it belongs to. It belongs to the neighbor. But we think it's just standing there for everybody to use, so why not use it? So, as we can see on this example, forgetfulness of the real owner leads to such strange activities. So if we forget Krishna, who is the owner of all the material energy, and we just take it for granted, that's for me. This sense gratification is for me. I can eat whatever I want. I can engage in all kind of activities, all kind of sexual activities with all kind of different people. That's the goal of life, as people think. The goal of life is just to gratify your senses as much as possible, forgetting that all these objects of the senses belong to Krishna. We're taking Krishna's energy. Even the simple example of food. Where is that food coming from? Where is that are those vegetables coming from? Where is that rice coming from? Where is that grain coming from? Where is that dal coming from? See, fruit, milk, where is it coming from? We just take it for granted, and we don't even give a thought of gratitude to that person who is providing that. That's forgetfulness, that's Maya. But as soon as we remember, this is Krishna's energy, that's Krishna's dal, that's Krishna's bread, grain. All what people have done is transform that grain into bread. But the grain doesn't belong to the baker. So nature is growing. Krishna is growing that grain. Krishna is providing the rain. Krishna is providing the sunshine. So it doesn't belong to us in any way. So if we, at least, we remember the owner, the ultimate owner of that bread, of that pizza, of that sabji, of that chapatis, we know who's the owner. Krishna is the owner. And then we'll take that food stuff in gratitude and offering it back to Krishna. Then we can partake of that prasadam. That is regulated. So in this way we can, in every sphere of life, we can connect with Krishna's interest. At least we're acknowledging, we're remembering who is the true owner of all of that. And if we do that fully, there is no room for sense gratification, and then we are spiritualized. Everything is spiritualized. We can spiritualize everything by remembering Krishna and engaging all objects which normally are out of forgetfulness. We take it, it belongs to me. Like that car in the driveway belongs to me. No, it belongs to the neighbor. Nothing belongs to us. We came into this world with nothing, and we're leaving this world with nothing. So these are very profound topics. So as we advance in Krishna consciousness, we extending that remembrance of Krishna in every sphere of life. And then the world we're living in is not any more material world. It's like Vaikuntha, by remembering Krishna constantly. Like Vaikuntha. And then Srila Prabhupada concludes his purport. Such a yogi, bhakti yogi, a Krishna conscious person, is regulated in all his work, speech, sleep, wakefulness, and all bodily activities. There is no material misery for him. Not only when we become fully Krishna conscious, there is no material misery for us. People want to be free from distress, but they don't know how to. They want to become free from anxiety, but they don't know how to. They want to be peaceful. They never have peace, but they don't know how to. So here is a formula. Here's a formula. We engage everything. We are regulated in all our habits and remembering Krishna. Then no more material miseries. These miseries come when we forget Krishna. Okay, here we stop. Any question, Vijay?
Yeah, it's just tying in with the nectar of instruction. When a sober person, it mentions they need to tolerate the urge to speak, and tolerate the mind's demands, but also tolerate the actions of anger and the urges of the tongue, belly,
Tongue, very important.
yeah, tongue, yeah. And so one of the it makes you it gives you the qualification to make disciples all over the world.
Yes.
So that's one of the all those qualities are inherent in a true spiritual master. He's able to control all those
Yes,
urges.
second verse of Nectar of Instruction.
Yeah, yeah.
Upadeshamrita. Very important verse. Vacha Vegam, Manasa Vegam. Yes. And Srila Prabhupada points out in his purport to that verse, the tongue, the belly, and the genitals are in a straight line. You remember that when you have read that purport. A straight line. It starts with the tongue. The tongue is uncontrolled. Then the belly is uncontrolled. We're overeating, and then that puts pressure on the genitals, and then the genitals are not controlled. And so if someone can control all these urges, the tongue, of course, has a twofold function. It's not only tasting palatable food, but also speaking so much nonsense. When I go in the park and chanting my rounds and people passing me by and everybody is speaking, 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 but it's all nonsense. They're just on their phone, speaking to friends, and it's just irrelevant what they're speaking. They're not speaking about how to end birth, death, old age, and disease. They don't speak about that. How to get out of this material incarceration. They don't speak about that. They just speak about how to enjoy the senses in this material world. And then again, next life, and again, and again, and again. They seem to be almost hopeless, stuck in the cycle of birth and death. So yes, someone who can control all these urges. These are urges. The tongue is urging us to taste palatable food. The eyes are urging us to look at beautiful forms. The belly is urging us to fill me, fill me. The genitals are urging us, satisfy me, satisfy me. The ears are urging us to hear some pleasant sounds, whatever we consider pleasant. Some consider as pleasant, some different types of sounds, of course. So if someone can control all these urges of the gates, of the body, of the senses, then he is qualified as a spiritual master and can make disciples all over the world, of course. That's a qualification. It's a beautiful verse, very important verse.